A signature project of Optimist International is the Oratorical World Championship. Each year, it is exhilarating to listen to talented youth from around the world deliver their presentations. This year will be no exception, as the contestants will present on the topic, Healing the World with Optimism. My name is Jan Ord-Graves, and I'm serving as the president of the Optimist International Foundation. The staff and board of our foundation are proud to partner with Optimist International to provide the funding for the scholarships for this incredible program. The Optimist International Foundation provides the scholarship for the winning district and regional contestants in the United States, the Caribbean, and the world region. While the Canadian Children's Optimist Foundation funds the scholarship winners in Canada. Every year, thousands of youth compete at their local club level. The winners moving on to compete in one of our 57 Optimist International District competition. The foundations provide funding for the top 3 winners of all of the district competition. The first place district winners move on to compete in the World Championship. These World Championship contestants will compete in one of 8 regions. The regional winners receive a $5,000 scholarship. These 8 regional champions will compete in the final Optimist International Oratorical World Contest. The top 3 will be awarded additional scholarship funds of $15,000 for first, $10,000 for second, and $5,000 for third. Again, the scholarship funds are provided by our foundations. Many of our Optimist members consider the Oratorical World Championship a favorite project. They are incredibly inspired listening to these talented youth of our communities across the world. You can be inspired too.
And go, okay?
Okay.
Oh.
Diana? And we're back, Diana.
Hi, I think, okay, here I am. Welcome back to the 6th Annual Optimist World Championship Oratorical Contest. We're happy to have you with us. We are ready for round 6. This is the Middle America region, and I'm going to turn this over to my co-director, Sunny Fridge, to introduce the speakers. So enjoy the round.
And again, welcome everyone. I would like to introduce Speaker A. Speaker A.
Healing the world with optimism. I'm sure you've heard the song, This Little Light of Mine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Yet, our world seems pretty dark sometimes, doesn't it? Just watch the news if you're feeling too happy. And hello, COVID-19 isn't exactly joyful to talk about. Add political buzz, riots, and economy news to the mix, and it can feel hard to see any light or hope. But I believe there's a solution that you can be part of. I believe by being the light and being kind, we can be one step closer to healing our dark, broken world. Through acts of love and kindness to one another, we can be the light in our world and spread hope, peace, and joy. If we want to begin to slowly heal our broken world, it is not enough to simply just feel sympathy or compassion. We must let these feelings move us to take action. You may be wondering how this relates to optimism. Optimism is hopefulness and confidence about the future. So by doing kind acts and spreading hope, you are also spreading optimism. All of this can feel a little overwhelming though. Okay, I'm supposed to be kind, but where do I start? Let me share with you 2 stories of others spreading kindness in their community. In Dunlop, Tennessee, Bandy Gibson, a mother of 4, is her neighborhood's unofficial aide. She started out by picking up groceries and medication for a homebound neighbor. One act led to another, and now Bandy helps others daily, whether cleaning, doing yard work, or going on grocery runs. In Ohio at Akron University, students Shine and Matthew understood the struggle of online learning. To help out, they and 22 other undergrads created the K-12 Homework Hotline. They offered 30-minute tutoring sessions to struggling students whose schools had gone remote because of COVID-19. Here are 5 more random act of kindness suggestions, according to Susanna Newsom at happyologist.co.uk. Number 1, hold the door open. Number 2, thank someone you appreciate. Number 3, give an honest compliment. Number 4, offer your help to someone. And number 5, ask the person who's serving you how their day is going. It doesn't have to be complicated. A few other ideas are making a meal for someone, paying for the person behind you in the drive-thru line, or sending a text to a friend just to check in. No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. Aesop. When we spread our light and spread kindness, we shouldn't be thinking about ourselves. We should be thinking about others. But being kind has some truly amazing benefits for you. Being kind increases energy. According to Christine Carter at UC Berkeley, about half of participants in one study reported that they feel stronger and more energetic after helping others. Many also reported feeling calmer and less depressed, with increased feelings of self-worth. Being kind also decreases stress. According to randomactsofkindness.org, perpetually kind people have 22% less cortisol, the stress hormone, and age slower than the average population. But oftentimes it can be easy to feel hopeless and negative yourself. I believe one way to gain some positivity and hope is by practicing gratitude. Last July, I began to keep a gratitude journal where I'd write down 3 things I was grateful for each day. I might write down anything from a food I enjoyed to an activity I was thankful for, or something else, like the nice weather or doing well on a test. If I got busy and ran out of time a couple of days, I would just go back and film several days at once. I feel like keeping this journal helped me appreciate and be more grateful for what I have. I challenge you to practice gratitude more often in your life. If keeping a journal seems like a big commitment, simply think of things you are grateful for, maybe while showering, trying to fall asleep, or if you're stuck in traffic. I think we can all agree that our world seems very broken and dark at times. I believe we can begin to heal our world by being the light and being kind. Have hope and confidence about the future, and let your light shine. Let's heal our world, one kind act at a time. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank my family, obviously, my number one support before anything, whether it be competitions or me needing to clean my room. So I want to thank them and not just them, but the people who have helped me get to this point, especially the people who I compete with and my coaches at school, my English teachers. I would have never even known about this competition hadn't it been for my own English teacher, Mr. John Lodell. Just so excited for this opportunity. I'm so excited for the chance to be able to speak about something that I care about. I just think it's really important for us, especially people around my age, to be able to have that ability. Oration is really magical in that sense where we get the chance to talk about things that are important to us. We, especially as teenagers in this time, we really don't feel comfortable doing that, whether it be with our friends or especially like with our parents. But I think this gives us the unique opportunity to be able to talk about those issues. Even though we're under a topic constraint in this competition, in general, it's allowing us to have the ability to think, to be inspired by the topic, and to be able to create our own material from it. So I think this is a great competition to be a part of. I'm so thankful to be able to have won this competition in its entirety. I'm just really grateful because, I think about how I would have never thought that anyone would be inspired or moved by the words that I said. But in this moment, I realize that words have power, that your ability to speak has power, and that you should never give up on that ability if you have any interest in it at all. I'm thankful to the International Optimist Club organization, and I'm glad that I was able to have this experience. My name is Jalen Mutchison, and I am the 2020 Optimist International Oratorical World Champion.
And welcome back. I'd like to introduce Speaker B. Speaker B.
Healing the world with optimism. Our world today is full of chaos and is in need of substantial change and healing. Collectively, from political divide, racial tension, and a global pandemic, our modern world is slowly breaking piece by piece. With all these issues that we face, we have two options. We can either look at our world pessimistically and be part of the problem, or we can look at it with optimism and begin to heal the world. Famous playwright Oscar Wilde once wrote, "We are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars." When thinking of this quote, I'm reminded of the current situation in our world today. At times, we feel like we're at the lowest of lows in our lives. Again, we have an important decision. Are we going to focus on our problems and allow that to keep us in the gutter? Or are we going to gaze at the stars? Personally, I choose optimism. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, optimism is a doctrine that this is the best possible world. In other words, we have the power to make this the best world it can possibly be. Our world needs saving, and we do not have much time to do so. When we choose to heal the world with optimism, we will persevere. This past year, our lives have changed drastically. COVID-19 struck, causing everyone to stay home and modify their lives. Everyone missed events that they won't be able to experience again. Seniors across the country missed their last year of high school. They also missed out on sports, prom, and even a normal graduation. At the time, we all had troubles focusing on being optimistic. But over time, the healing power came from the optimistic point of view that we were able to slow down and spend more time with family and pets. We were also able to appreciate what we had taken for granted before the coronavirus tried to take over our lives. This past year, social media has impacted many people in negative ways. People have used social media to create political division and even racial tension. Personally, I've seen how social media can negatively impact people I care about. When someone posts on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, or any other social media handle, they're putting themselves out to the world. If someone would take advantage of this, they could post something negative about them. They push them down with hate, and the ball just keeps stumbling. With our world influenced by social media, this is not uncommon. Many people have changed their personality, and all because of a single hate comment. While it can be a fun escape for many, social media can be very dangerous in terms of self-confidence. If optimism entered the picture, though, our world would look different. We are given the great opportunity to heal through social media interactions. Optimism makes everybody see things differently. Personally, I do not get caught up in social media negativity. If I post anything, it's only with positive intentions. If everybody tried to heal the world with optimism through social media, our world would be changed. Helen Keller once wrote, "Keep your face to the sunshine and you cannot see the shadows." The challenge for us is to figure out how to ignore the shadows of our past and keep our heads up. We've experienced many problems, setbacks, and challenges, but we cannot allow that to define who we are as people. We also can't allow that to control our point of view. What we can do is use our experience as motivation and change people's lives one person at a time. Every day, we are given the chance to look for the good in others and help them feel good about themselves. If someone seems to be having a tough time, the simple act of discussing the positives of the circumstances can change their mindset. A smile and compliment can go a long way. We all have the power to heal our world with optimism. Thank you.
Optimist International presents Musical Happiness. Music makes people happy. This exciting new program is designed to encourage and celebrate youth, musical, and vocal categories. There will be awards for first, second, and third place of each category.
In your community, optimism for you and me, it will make you. It will make you. Optimism will make you. It will make you high. Everybody sing it.
Hi, my name is Jonah Castle, and I'm going to be playing De Biene by Franz Schubert.
Cloudy days have got me through. I'm running with nowhere to go. I could give into the clouds, have a gloomy.
Welcome back to the World Oratorical Championship Middle America region. I'd like to introduce Speaker C. Speaker C.
Growing up, my parents made sure I knew that healing the world with optimism began with kindness. So they reminded me, if you don't have anything kind to say, don't say anything at all. I spent a lot of time in silence growing up. But where is the kindness and optimism in our culture today? You've heard the name calling? Sleepy Creepy Joe, Crazy Bernie, Bad Orange Man. Listen, I'm not suggesting we should all hold hands and sing Kumbaya here, but as the May 8th USA Today points out, suicide and drug overdoses are expected to surpass 150,000 deaths in our country alone. It's time that we put our differences aside and become kind and optimistic. This is my concern. We have fallen into a cycle where it has become too easy and routine to choose unkindness and lose our optimism. In this time of pandemic and tensions that are tearing our country apart, it's time to remember that kindness and optimism won't kill us. In fact, it may be the only thing that can heal us. According to a study done by the Bidari Kindness Institute at UCLA in September of 2019, kindness has been proven to reduce heart disease, depression, and a person's risk for developing cancer. So much for kill them with kindness. Let's cure them with kindness and create optimism. Said best by the great Mr. Rogers himself. There are 3 ways to ultimate success. The first way is to be kind. The second way is to be kind. And the third way is to be kind. So today, join me in understanding how unkindness is killing us, how kindness and optimism can cure us, and lastly, discuss how we can implement Mr. Rogers' ways. Just last fall, The Atlantic proclaimed that America has an epidemic of unkindness. It's a malignancy that's filtering into our schools, social media, and politics. You don't have to tell that to the family of Summer Rae Dolman. At age 13, she lost hope and hung herself. Her family found notes in her dresser from kids at school. One said, "Jump off the school roof." Sadly, Summer is not alone in losing hope. The New York Times points to a 400% increase in suicide attempts in teenagers and young adults in the last 10 years. And those are just the ones showing up in ER. Daniel Fessler, the director of the Kind Institute at UCLA, said the internet is a cesspool. Anonymity invites antisociality. In other words, it's easier to be a jerk when you're hiding behind a Twitter account. Is it any wonder the halls at school are increasingly unkind? When the political sphere sounds like a World Wrestling Federation match? So if hopelessness and unkindness are killing us, then kindness just might be the cure. You know that feeling you get after eating chocolate or winning a race? That runner's high that unlocks the feeling of endless possibilities. Turns out kindness generates a helper's high. A Dartmouth study explained that when we are kind or witness kindness, our brains produce serotonin, which controls our mood. It acts like a natural antidepressant, lifting our spirits and optimism. Kindness not only affects the brain, it changes the heart too. A new Carnegie Mellon study found that when we are kind to others, our hearts actually grow. Our brains produce oxytocin when we do kind deeds. This hormone releases nitric acid that dilates blood vessels, and our blood pressure is lowered. We are literally healing ourselves and each other when we choose kindness and optimism. Unkindness is killing us, and kindness leads to the optimism that cures us. We don't have to put on a red cardigan sweater to make the world a more kind and optimistic place. But Mr. Rogers got it right when he once said, "Imagine what our real neighborhoods would be like if each of us offered, as a matter of course, just one kind word to another person." Healing through optimism begins with kindness. Start with your own neighbors, and that is a neighborhood that Mr. Rogers can be proud of. Thank you.
Did you know the Optimist Club of St. Louis is one of the oldest in the nation? Our club was founded before the 1918 influenza pandemic. We support youth in St. Louis and have a storied history. Ranch Rickey, who later managed the Dodgers when Jackie Robinson came to baseball, was president of our club in 1928. The club has had many members over the decades. We keep up tradition like the annual Old Newsboys Day, selling a special version of the Post-Dispatch for donations. Each year, our foundation gives grants to local service organizations. At the Youth and Family Center, we assemble holiday meals. Look at all those family dinners. The Oratorical contest demonstrates the bright future of the youth we serve even through COVID-19. We are the Optimist Club of St. Louis, helping children through 2 pandemics, sustained for over 100 years by our Optimist creed.
Welcome back. It's time to introduce Speaker D. I'd like to introduce Speaker D.
Hi, can you hear me okay? Every one of us is capable of healing the world with optimism. What comes to your mind when I say 2020 and 2021? Is it pandemic? Perhaps things like social unrest, polarization, and employment, and the list just seems to go on, doesn't it? Well, if you happen to be having these thoughts, slowly pause and try to stop right there. Instead of looking at these times with a lens of rage or sadness, I want you to wipe your mental glasses and recall a moment of joy when someone or something has brightened your day. Whether it's receiving a holiday card or a stranger's random act of kindness. Notice how your mood lifted as you took in the warm wishes. Notice the impact that kind stranger has had on your day. Now, I am not asking you to disregard everything else and ignore all the bad things. In fact, I believe it's crucial for us to acknowledge them. However, we must not confuse this with the act of allowing those things to decide how much or little power they have over us. Recently, I went on an emotional roller coaster that was my 16th birthday. Being an exchange student, it's never been easy for me whenever my birthday approaches, as it means that the Lunar New Year is also near. And in our culture, this is the most sacred, most celebrated day of the year. And family has always been one of its biggest factors. Consequently, my homesickness would always reach its peak during this period, with me being literally half the world away from home and all. But I told neither my parents nor host family about this because I didn't want them to worry. So troubled and dispirited, I decided to confide in my best friend. I can't help but feel so lonely. I just miss everyone and feel so overwhelmed. Hey, you're not alone, you know that. Your family and me were just a phone call away. But don't let this ruin your day. Think of that delicious cookie cake you told me to make and all the fun you're gonna have at dinner with your host family. After our phone call ended, I remember feeling a sense of ease, of comfort from her words of reassurance. They reminded me that in just a couple of weeks, I'd be toasting to my very first milestone birthday and simply celebrating myself and my growth. Already, the prospect of those nearing celebrations wasn't looking so dreadful anymore. Then, fast forward to my birthday, I was caught completely off guard by the sweetest surprise of all the presents that my host family has prepared. But it wasn't until my host mom said these following words as I tore through my gifts that the rest of my day was completely altered. We've never had a January birthday in our family before. It was so exciting to plan. That word, family, that whole phrase might not seem significant, but at that moment, it had pushed out any bits of loneliness or gloom in me and replaced them with gratitude and even some excitement. They reminded me that I am blessed with an amazing host family who makes me feel so loved, that I do have a family here, and that there's a scrumptious cookie cake that promised to make me the happiest 16-year-old of the night. The day I imagined to be utterly miserable became one of my most treasured memories. For the smallest acts often have the greatest impacts. One single genuine word was able to transform my day from a pile of mud to a beautiful bud. Imagine the flowers that would bloom, the gardens that would form if and when every one of us decide to each sow a seed of positivity, of love and light. Imagine the smiles we would be planting on the lips of those who have forgotten how to do so. Imagine the faces that would glow as you help them realize that after the rain, there will be rainbows. And imagine the lives of those who have given up on life light up. After all, wasn't it hope and faith in a better future that had accompanied Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. through the very marches that have helped to better this nation? Wasn't it for the same audacity of hope that has guided Gandhi to inspire thousands of Indians to believe that their lives matter, that it will and can improve? They did not kill or wage war, but had rather used their voice and confidence in a better tomorrow to help encourage that same confidence in others. Now, none of us might be MLK or Gandhi, but all of us have hope, love, and more importantly, a voice. So please use them to help others discover and strengthen theirs. As MLKS once said, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And I truly believe that together we could heal this world with optimism. Thank you.
Well, the question is then, what's to do in Reno?
Welcome back to the World Oratorical Contest. And here we are, down to Speaker E. I'd like to introduce Speaker E. Speaker E.
Healing the world with optimism. Misha Collins once said, "Be kind to yourself, so you can be happy enough to be kind to the world." In these trying times, as we have all heard, it is absolutely crucial to remain positive and take this inspiring quote into heart. But with the pandemic, crime rates on the rise, corrupt politicians, and every other negative output of life, staying optimistic is absolutely necessary just to get through everyday tasks. It was March 13th of 2020, a Friday, which really isn't all that surprising. School had just gotten out and phones buzzed with a common message: no school on Monday. We rejoiced and anticipated a 3-day weekend, not thinking this COVID-19 was of any importance. We were so wrong. Monday hit and we got another big message: no school for the rest of the week. All right then, no school for the rest of the week. Can't really complain about that. But then that one little week soon evolved into 2, and then 3, and then a whole month. And then the big text came out: no school for the rest of the year. No school for the rest of the year? Everyone was utterly flabbergasted. It was only March. This COVID thing must be pretty bad then. But a year later, we're still in it. How messed up is that? Everybody kept saying that after a year, it would be over. Pfft. But that's not about the pandemic. What else happened last year? Well, a ton of stuff did. Black Lives Matter emerged, along with the corrupt two-faced politicians that run our government. There's also a media culture that was born, such as quarantine looks and activities and the memes. My goodness, the memes. And more recently, Stop Asian Hate has appeared, which is a great cause, and it's definitely needed in today's environment. However, the fact that the United States needs yet another movement to battle racism, something that should have been abolished centuries upon centuries ago, it's kind of sad. But yet, throughout all of this hopelessness, hatred, and strife, how does optimism factor in? Well, that is quite simple. Optimism is faith, hope, and belief in our future ambitions. Optimism is hitting rock bottom, but still seeing the light at the top of the well. And optimism can cure anything, just like time. Let optimism flow into yourself and you can cure anything. Hopeless situations can blossom into aspiring solutions, and devastating results can convert into joyful possibilities. And no problem is too big nor too small to be cured with optimism. To quote Dalai Lama, if you ever feel too small to make a difference, try sleeping in a room with a mosquito. We need to heal the world. And who is the world? The people, our friends, family, neighbors, us. We are the world, and we're all needing to be healed. Even if somehow you were not directly impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic or any of the other hatred that's happening in the world, you're still needing to be healed. You're still needing optimism. You know, this reminds me of a song, 1985's We Are the World, from Michael Jackson and other musicians from around the world. They wanted people to come together and help support the starving people in Africa, to let them know that we are here for them, and that no matter how hard it gets, we will always be there to love and support them. Now let's just think. Actually think for a moment all the possibilities that could come from remaining optimistic about your situation. Just think about it. Jobless, yes, that is a terrible thing, and nobody should have to go through that. However, a new job opportunity is something to look forward to and be excited about. And have you fallen ill? Yes, that is absolutely devastating, but just persevere and you'll emerge stronger than ever. And so now to come full circle, healing the world with optimism. I feel as though this phrase is needed now more than ever. The world is hurting and aching. The people are crying out in pain and in grief. There is needless violence and hatred everywhere, instigated by nothing more than equally needless abhorrence towards others. What I'm trying to say is that we need to remain optimistic ourselves. We need to stay positive and to spread that positivity like wildfire. And so that way other people will see our optimism and thus feel compelled to do the same, and thus causing a chain reaction of optimism. And so now let's go back to my beginning quote. Be kind to yourself so you can be happy enough to be kind to the world. And so now with all of this in mind, let us truly take what Misha has set into heart, because we cannot heal the world unless we heal ourselves first.
Hello, my name is Patsy Garner and I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. I am the President-Designate of Optimist International. I would like to congratulate each and every one of our contestants today as you have stair-stepped your way through the many levels of competition to lead you to this stage of the 2021 Optimist World Oratorical Championships. It takes hard work, it takes bravery, it takes a little bit of courage to tackle this year's topic, healing the world with optimism. Your teachers, your parents, your supporters around our Optimist globe are extremely proud of each and every one of you, and we wish you all the best of luck in the championships.
And welcome back to the World Oratorical Championship. We're down to our final contestant for the Middle America region. I'd like to introduce Speaker F. Speaker F.
Healing the world with optimism. When two violins are placed in a room, if the chord on one violin is struck, the other violin will sound the note. This line from poet Andrea Gibson perfectly encapsulates the transformative nature of optimism, and to me, is the very definition of hope. It is the idea that, much like the string of a violin, hope and optimism are resonant forces that have the ability to sound positive changes in those around us, and in turn, the world. For me, the healing power of optimism is nowhere as evident as it was in my own family.
As a child, my sister was diagnosed with pediatric cancer. Looking back, I'm sure my parents must have struggled with this. Yet they were determined to create a strong family foundation of faith and hope, reinforcing our belief that despite the travails, there is always room for joy. At one point, my sister had to have multiple chemo treatments a week. I recall the ritual she and my mother would have on the way home from the hospital. In the car, my mom would announce jam time, and she and my sister would turn up the car stereo and have loud, top-of-your-voice singing sessions. My sister usually felt sick and tired by the time she got home, but her last memory before dozing off was always of laughter, music, and love. My mom held the optimistic belief that even when life feels off-key, you have to keep singing anyway. While we couldn't sing away the cancer, I do truly believe that it is my family's optimism that created the space for my sister to heal. Our world today has many cancers, and being an optimist doesn't mean denying the darkness of pandemics or social injustice. Being an optimist means facing these issues head on with the healing belief that the world can and should be a better place. Martin Luther King said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that." As an optimist, I see so many bearers of light in our world today. From Malala Yousafzai courageously advocating for the rights of girls, to Greta Thunberg passionately crusading for our planet, and most recently, the doctors and nurses on the front lines of COVID who steadfastly believe they can heal the world one patient at a time. Civil rights activist and Congressman John Lewis encouraged us to be optimistic, stating, "The power of faith is transformative. It can be used as a lifeline of spiritual strength that can change a nation." Lewis's optimism and conviction did in fact change a nation. Despite overwhelming persecution, discrimination, and grave personal injury, Lewis worked tirelessly to be a voice of positive change for Black Americans. In fact, nearly 44 years after he was beaten while demonstrating in Selma, the impacts of his optimism came full circle as he proudly took his seat of honor at the inauguration of America's first Black president. While the actions of visionaries like John Lewis left world-changing impacts, it's important to remember that we can each heal the world in our own way. Not all of us will be presidents, politicians, or famous political activists. Yet simply choosing to plant the seeds of optimism in ourselves first, we inspire those around us to believe in themselves and in a brighter future. Mother Teresa said, "I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters that makes many ripples." Thus, if we can each make our own little corners of the world better by casting out ripples of hope and optimism, there will be healing. The Optimist Creed calls us to be too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too happy to permit the presence of trouble. If we all embrace the confidence, nobility, strength, and joy that the Optimist Creed demands of us, we will strike a chord with those around us and collectively create a symphony of caring and hope. We truly can heal the world with optimism.
Thank you, Speaker F. Now I'd like to welcome back Co-Director Diana Carlin.
Good evening, and thank you all for viewing. Before we go to our next round, there are a lot of people who make this contest happen, and we couldn't determine a winner if we didn't have judges. So I want to take a minute to recognize our 3 judges for this round. So judge number 1 here, if you want to wave, is Tom Oppenheimer. Thank you very much, Tom. This is, I think, your 3rd round of the day, so you deserve some kind of a special recognition. Judge number 2 is Ann Smith. And Ann, you've judged a couple 3 rounds today too, so thank you for being such a judge warrior here. And then our third judge is Stacy Burnell. So Stacy, if you want to raise your hand. Okay. These are all veteran judges. We've used them in the past, so it's great to have you back. Thank you so much.
When you are not sure where you're going to be sleeping that night, or if you were going to eat dinner, algebra takes a backseat. My Optimist journey began long before I was a member. My life has been forever changed by the Optimist organization, and it all started when I was in high school. I spent my teenage years in group homes, shelters, and foster homes outside the District of Columbia. There were many nights before I went into the system that I slept outside. I remember a favorite playground at a local elementary school. There was an enclosure underneath the kids' playground bridge. It was dry and it blocked the wind on a cold night, and most importantly, no one could see me. It was private. Once I was in the foster care system, I was at the mercy of that system. It's not really what you see on television. At least that wasn't my experience. I spent more time in group homes than I did in actual foster homes. I was shuffled from group homes in Rockville to Bethesda, back to Rockville, and these places were designed to be temporary. Many had rules about kids staying more than 30 days or 90 days, so I shuffled back and forth depending on how many days I needed to be there. These group homes had anywhere between 6 and 20 kids, boys and girls, mostly surely teenagers. We had chores and schedules and teenage drama, but our basic needs for food and shelter were met. There were behavior systems. One home took my shoes when I first got there. I had to behave and follow the rules for a week to earn the privilege of shoes, and then I was on level 1. At level 5, I had more privileges and freedom, use of a phone for 10 minutes a day, or the rights to walk into town. Sometimes I went to school in the shelter, sometimes not. One had a school in the basement, which pretty much consisted of me doing worksheets. In Rockville, I was able to take the Metro bus to my regular school. I was not a particularly good student, mostly because of priority. When you are not sure where you're going to be sleeping that night, or if you were going to eat dinner, algebra takes a backseat. I also admit that there were many times that I took the Metro to DC instead of going to class. Sadly, I was not unique. Like many teens in the foster care system, I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder. It was me against the world, and if I needed something, I had to get it myself because no one else was going to be there to help me. Or so I believed. Sometime during my sophomore year in high school, I became aware that many of my friends were taking the SATs. I craved normalcy, but I did not live normal. I didn't really know how to go about signing up to take the test or even how to start, so I went to visit the guidance counselor at my school. She was close to retirement and I suppose had a lot of experience. I trusted that she knew what she was doing. It was her job to help me, right? So I went and I sat in her office and I told her I wanted to take this SAT. I can still hear her voice in my head as she told me, "Oh, honey, the SAT is for kids who are going to college." It's still there, that voice in my head. That's not for you. That's for the normal kids, the ones who will do something with their lives. No, that's not for you. I felt crushed and defeated. This person was supposed to believe in me, wasn't she? Maybe she was just being realistic. Maybe she thought she was letting me down easy and preventing me from further hurt. Was I Don Quixote? Was it really an impossible dream for me to go to college? Or was she just plain wrong? So you remember I said I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder and a stubborn streak? Well, a surefire way to get me to do something is to tell me that I can't. The following year, I went to live with my grandparents in Pennsylvania. It took them over a year to go through the process to become foster parents for me and move me out of state. I'm eternally grateful for them and their care and their sacrifice. With some structure, support, my basic needs met, and quite frankly, nowhere else to go, I actually went to school every day. My grades improved drastically. Imagine that. A guidance counselor there helped me to take the SAT and apply for colleges. I was still a ward of the state, and although I had a part-time job, I didn't have the funds for college, and I wasn't sure that anyone really thought that I was capable. I wasn't sure I was. But my guidance counselor encouraged me to apply for some scholarships. I didn't have the grades to qualify for any merit-based scholarships. All those trips on the metro train to DC kind of got me there. But I wrote some essays and I filled out some applications. In the spring of 1992, I received a letter that I had won the local Optimist essay contest. It was not a lot of money. However, it meant so much to me. I went to a meeting, was presented with a plaque and a medallion, and I even had my picture in the paper. These folks didn't know me. They didn't know that I had marginal grades. They didn't know that I had spent weeks sleeping in a park or sneaking into friends' basements when it was too cold or wet to sleep outside. However, they saw something in my essay and they believed in me. I had value. I had a future. The Optimist Essay Scholarship was not the only one that I received, but it had the most impact. That scholarship encouraged me and helped me to believe in myself, even if others did not. I went to college at Westchester University of Pennsylvania. When I graduated cum laude, I sent my transcript to that Maryland guidance counselor. I never got a response, but that's okay because my success is my reward. I've considered myself an optimist ever since those scholarship pursuits. So it was only natural that I became an Optimist member when my husband and I sought to give back to our community. A few years gone by, and I'm just finishing up my year as the governor of the South Carolina Optimist District. I often think about those other kids in the group homes and shelters that I saw over the years. Do they have an Optimist club to encourage and support them? Can I have that same impact on the lives of other children? It motivates me not only to bring out the best in children, but to also lend my talents to strengthen this organization so that we can reach even more children. You are all here because you are optimists who believe in the power of the foundations. Whether it's a small scholarship or a large one, you have an impact. Your efforts inspire and have a lasting impression on the recipients. The foundations make these scholarships possible and empower the clubs to help the children in their communities. The foundations made it possible for me to be here with you today. As optimists, you believed in me. You helped me see that my future was not defined by my circumstances. You helped me turn that stubbornness to my benefit. So thank you. Thank you all for your contributions and the lasting impact you've had on me and the lives of children. Thank you.
Hi, Tina and Debbie. Let's talk about Optimist International's new expanded Childhood Health and Wellness program. It allows clubs and districts the opportunity to initiate new projects to improve the quality of life for children in all communities across a broad spectrum of needs.
The program focuses on 4 general areas. Number 1, healthy lifestyles. Number 2, chronic diseases such as diabetes and cancer. Number 3, mental health. And 4, disabilities.
Childhood health and wellness is so important to a child's growth and development, and that's why it includes such things as a healthy diet and exercise.
It also includes good mental health and wellness, and all of this together promotes a child's optimal growth and development.
As a part of this effort, the In My Understanding initiative allows access to exceptional resources such as pamphlets and videos for families and for community partners.
And thereby, they can learn much more about childhood wellness. In My Understanding provides excellent tools to help those in need of assistance.
Such resources will allow youth and families to learn that it's okay to need help sometimes, and that when it comes to childhood wellness, everyone is an optimist.
Oh, hi. Are you here to see the principal?
Yes, I am.
Oh, Mrs. Brown is super nice. Hey, you'll like her. You mind if I sit down?
Sure.
Oh, I'm Gulliver, by the way.
It's nice to meet you, Gulliver.
Do you have a child at this school?
I do.
Yeah.
He's in grade 3.
Oh, no kidding. Well, who is he? Who's your son?
Matthew? Matt?
Oh, Matt. I know Matt. He's a great guy. Oh, are you here to pick him up? Does he have a doctor's appointment? Or a dentist appointment?
No, I'm here to see the principal. Matt is not having a good day.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I noticed he was struggling at recess. He was having a really hard time.
Yeah, Matt struggles with anxieties.
Oh, I know all about anxiety. I struggle with it myself. But I'm learning to manage. It's a process.
It takes a lot of work to manage anxiety.
Well, I know some days Matt must have a hard time in class. Everybody does. You know, sometimes I have a hard time with my anxieties. We talk a lot about anxieties and worries at my house.
We talk about worries at our house, too. But Matt's problems are a bit bigger than worries.
Oh, well, then I guess it's good that you're here, talking to Mrs. Brown.
Is it?
Well, yeah. You guys are working together to help Matt.
It doesn't feel like it.
How come it doesn't feel like it?
It's hard being a parent to Matt. He's that kid with the problems. And here I am, called to the principal's office from work again.
Yeah, but that's a good thing, isn't it? Because then there's more than one person helping Matt.
I feel like they don't see the work we do at home. They only see Matt at school. They don't know how hard it is to raise a kid like Matt. I think they think I'm a bad parent.
Why would they think that you are a bad parent?
Because Matt is a problem. Matt is always a problem. No matter what I do, Matt is a problem. It doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't get any better. I'm tired. I feel hopeless. When is this going to end?
Here.
I'm the one day in and day out with this kid. You don't think I know what he does? I'm exhausted. And here I am, called out of work to come back to the principal's office again. I just don't think they understand. If they could walk a day in my shoes.
Are you okay?
You're the first person to ask me that. Thanks for listening.
You're welcome. By the way, I don't think Matt is a problem. I like Matt. I think Matt is a kid with a problem. But I don't think that Matt is a problem. You know, it sounds like raising Matt is hard at times, but I think you're doing a great job.
Thanks.
Really? I mean, it's easy to be good at the easy things, but sticking it out when things get tough, well, anybody who can do that is doing great in my books. It just sounds like you need help once in a while, like when Matt has hard days.
I do.
I always think it's okay to ask for help.
But they're just going to judge me.
Maybe you need to help them understand. Maybe they need you as much as you need them. Everyone working together to help Matt.
I don't know.
Understanding. Yeah, it's all about understanding. I bet if everyone around Matt had a better understanding of what he was going through, well then, you might not feel so judged.
Maybe.
And maybe if everyone understood how hard you were working, well, they'd remember to ask you how you're doing. You know, I think Matt's lucky to have you as a mom. I bet he knows how hard you're trying.
How did you get so smart? You're an old soul.
Oh, I am 56 in dog years.
Hi, Michelle. Sorry to keep you waiting. Gulliver, are you waiting to see me?
Yep, here, Mrs. Brown. This is for you.
All right, excellent. Thanks, Gulliver.
It was very nice to meet you.
You too.
Come on in, Michelle. Let's talk about Matt.
As a part of this effort, the MI Understanding Initiative allows access to exceptional resources such as pamphlets and videos for families and for community partners.
There are also opportunities for funding from both the CCOF with the Spread Relief Grant and from the OIF with the Health and Wellness Matching Grants that clubs can utilize as startup funding for wellness programs. As optimists, we are role models of resilience, largely by choosing optimism.
It is important for Optimist clubs to provide an environment of growth and acceptance for families that we serve worldwide. This will help to establish resilience by providing a safe place for understanding, well-being, and wellness to youth, to families, and to ourselves.
Did you know that not all heroes wear capes? Optimist International Club's members and volunteers are often the unseen and unknown heroes who give it their all to make a positive difference in the youth and their community. Each year, Optimists celebrate together Optimist Day, which is on the first Thursday of February of each year. They do this by promoting their efforts in their community, over social media, in the news, and through local city proclamations. This past year, Optimists opened their doors and invited the world to celebrate this day with them, and Optimist Day became a national day. Members can be seen wearing Optimist attire, shirts, pins, hats, and more. We hope you come and celebrate Optimist Day with us on February 3rd, 2022.
Why am I an optimist?
Why am I an optimist? Because quite frankly, someone took the time to ask me to join.
Because I can get things done, and I especially like seeing smiling faces on kids and adults.
When anyone asks me specifically why I'm an optimist, I just tell them, I love the Optimist Creed. I live the Optimist Creed. And I really believe I can recite the Optimist Creed blindfolded.
Why am I an optimist? Because I want to change the world.
I want to make a difference in my community.
I love to see the joy of the kids we serve.
It continually allows me to help the youth in my community, whether it's by the OI initiatives, by community activities, or scholarships.
Why am I an optimist? Because I love helping to bring out the best in kids and helping in my community.
Because it's important to me to forget the mistakes of the past and look on the greater achievements of the future.
Because of the excitement and the things that you can bring to youth in your community.
I believe that if you model an optimistic lifestyle, others will be drawn to you. When others are drawn to you, large groups of positive, optimistic people will come together. They will gather and change the world.
Why am I an optimist? Because optimists have generous, giving hearts.
Because when I was a child, I had a severe learning disability. I will always remember when my teachers and adults helped me when people said I would fail. I want to get back to my community and be the mentor that can help a child in need. I want to make a difference in the life of a child.
Why am I an optimist? Because I look at the sunny side of every day.
Because we make a worldwide impact, helping kids year in and year out.
Why am I an optimist? Because I want to make a positive impact in the world around me. That's why I'm an optimist.
Because I want my life to count for something. I wanted to make a difference in the life of a child. I feel like I have something to give.
And why do I do it? This is why I do it. The children and the community. We want to bring out the best in our youth. And we choose optimism.
Why I am an optimist? Because we provide hope and light to a dark and fearful world.
3 key reasons. Number 1, disappointments never lead to discouragement. Number 2, obstacles always become opportunities. And number 3, success is never ending because failure is never final.
I am an optimist because I use my positivity to energize me to work hard, to think big, and to have fun.
As a scout leader, as a youth sports coach, and as an active member in the PTA, wherever there was a youth activity, there was an Optimist Club. And who wouldn't want to be a part of that?
Je suis optimiste. Pourquoi? Parce que les oiseaux chantent doucement dans les arbres. Why am I an optimist? Because it bugs the hell out of pessimists.
My why is to be a better daughter to my mother, to be a better sister to my siblings, to be a better aunt to their kids, to be a better neighbor, and to help my part of the world be better for our future generations.
I am an optimist to help the kids in my community.
Working with the children, seeing their facial expressions, whether they win, whether they complete the activity, whether they win prizes, draw prizes, or just finish. Their facial expressions give me warm fuzzies. It warms my heart tremendously to serve the community.
Why do I choose optimism? The Optimist Creed gives me guidance to live my daily life and makes me a better person.
I've always been community and youth oriented, whether it's coaching kids or building a new playground. It's always great to see the joy on kids' faces when they win a game or they're just playing on the playground.
Volunteerism has always been in my family. I can remember my mom and dad taking my sister and I, and even my brother, to different functions where we were volunteering in our neighborhood. So this was just part of me. The next reason I stayed for as long as I have is because I love the work that we do. And our big thing is taking care of children.
Being a member of an Optimist in an Optimist Club provides volunteer opportunities for a diverse group of members within the community to come together, work on projects that positively change the lives of our children and ourselves in doing so. This is my why I am an Optimist member, and these are why I am an Optimist member. You see the smiles on those faces? We put those there as an Optimist Club member. We provide hope, we provide positivity, and we provide optimism.
Optimist International presents Musical Happiness. Music makes people happy. This exciting new program is designed to encourage and celebrate youth, musical, and vocal categories. There will be awards for first, second, and third place of each category.
In your community, optimism for you and me, it will make you. It will make you. Optimism will make you. It will make you high. Everybody sing it.
Hi, my name is Samantha Caton, and this is a song that I wrote for the Optimist music competition. I know life seems it's got you tied to a string, feeling as though struggle is out of your control. But I hope you find the power hidden in your name. You're not left to sit and accept the pain.
Hi, my name is Isabel Naish. I'm a grade 10 student at Catholic Central High School, and this is my submission for the 2021 Optimist Musical Happiness Contest. This song is called Here to Stay. So many days have come and gone. You say that it's not getting easier, but I can see deep down in your heart you realize that maybe not everything is what it seems.
Hello, bonjour. My name is Subshana Bourret, and I am the 2020-2021 Junior Optimist International President under the theme Shooting for the Stars of Optimism. Under the umbrella organization of Optimist International, Junior Optimist International, otherwise known as JOY, was founded in 1988 and is home to the world's most dynamic coalition of youth volunteers. The members of Junior Optimist International live by the motto of kids helping kids, while following the creed that was adopted by Optimist International in 1922, which has the goal of helping us see the positive side of everything and make this world a better place to live. There are over 15,000 JOY members and 500 JOY clubs all around the world, and the organization continues to expand every year. Much like Optimist International, Junior Optimist is governed by an international board of directors, as well as district officers from the club level on up. Members have the opportunity to develop leadership and team building skills, all while helping communities. Each year, there is an international convention which gives members the opportunity to share in the decision-making process of the organization. Meet young people with similar interests and goals, grow from training seminars, and have fun. Participation in Junior Optimist International gives young people the opportunity to serve the community and to complete community service hours required for high school graduation. But it's also so much more. Students who are involved enjoy. Clubs learn about and practice good citizenship, teamwork, communication, and money management. Membership in Junior Optimist clubs helps to develop friendships with others who share the same interests. There are opportunities for personal growth and leadership position at club, district, and international levels. Junior Optimist exposes members to optimism as a philosophy of life. It provides members an improved sense of kindness and increased awareness for those in need and the opportunity to interact with other members on a global scale. The real purpose of Junior Optimist International clubs is community service. Each club is free to choose service projects which fit the needs of their communities. Some examples of projects are environmental cleanups, the creation of greeting cards for senior homes, and collecting food, clothes, blankets, and school supplies to donate to area shelters or food banks, just to name a few. As the project possibilities are endless, this creates an increased number of young volunteers, provides an interesting forum in which to address youth-related issues, and serves as an excellent training ground for future community leaders. If you wish to create, sponsor, or join a Junior Optimist club near you, please contact us at youthclubs@optimist.org or visit our website at junioroptimist.org, and it will be our pleasure to help you make a difference to Junior Optimist International. Thank you.
A signature project of Optimist International is the Oratorical World Championship. Each year, it is exhilarating to listen to talented youth from around the world deliver their presentations. This year will be no exception, as the contestants will present on the topic, Healing the World with Optimism. My name is Jan Ord-Graves, and I'm serving as the president of the Optimist International Foundation. The staff and board of our foundation are proud to partner with Optimist International to provide the funding for the scholarships for this incredible program. The Optimist International Foundation provides the scholarship for the winning district and regional contestants in the United States, the Caribbean, and the world region, while the Canadian Children's Optimist Foundation funds the scholarship winners in Canada. Every year, thousands of youth compete at their local club level, the winners moving on to compete in one of our 57 Optimist International district competition. The foundations provide funding for the top 3 winners of all of the district competition. The first place district winners move on to compete in the World Championship. These World Championship contestants will compete in one of 8 regions. The regional winners receive a $5,000 scholarship. These 8 regional champions will compete in the final Optimist International Oratorical World Contest. The top 3 will be awarded additional scholarship funds of $15,000 for first, $10,000 for second, and $5,000 for third. Again, the scholarship funds are provided by our foundations. Many of our Optimist members consider the Oratorical World Championship a favorite project. They are incredibly inspired listening to these talented youth of our communities across the world. You can be inspired too. Join us on July 22 and 23 through live stream on YouTube for our virtual Oratorical World Championship.
Good afternoon. My name is Anne-Richie Doyle. I'm honored to address you on behalf of my president, Jean-Claude Saint-Onge, and my colleagues at the Canadian Children's Optimist Foundation. What a privilege it is to participate in the 2021 edition of Optimist International World Oratorical Championship. Congratulations to all the youth who participated in our oratorical competition this year. Optimists around the world are proud to offer you this opportunity to express yourself on this year's theme while giving you this developmental opportunity. Both foundations and their volunteers have worked tirelessly to provide you with scholarships at the district, regional, and world championships. Investing in our youth today is and will always be of great importance to us. I must admit that I am totally relieved that I'm not acting as member of the jury today, as I know the choice will not be easy. I congratulate all of you and wish you the best in this championship.
Good evening and welcome to the 7th and final round of today's competition in the 6th annual Optimist World Championship Oratorical Contest. Thank you so much for joining us. And this is the West Coast region, as I said, our last region of the day. We will have the St. Lawrence region in Canada tomorrow, and then our finals will be at noon tomorrow. So please check the optimist.org site to get the link for tomorrow's final round. I can tell you it's going to be a good one. So right now we are ready to start with Speaker A from the West Coast region. And Speaker A, can you just do a quick test?
Can everyone hear me?
We can hear you. You are ready, Speaker A, whenever you are ready.
Healing the world with optimism. 625,000 dead in the United States. Protests surrounding the election, tearing our country apart and convincing us that anyone with different political beliefs is the enemy. Quarantine, causing social isolation and a constant state of fear for our loved ones everywhere we turn. It seems as if the world is only getting worse. A mindset that can make it feel impossible to embrace optimism. Yet these tough times are what make optimism all the more essential. In times where it seems like the world has nothing good left to offer, we have no choice but to look for the silver lining, the rainbow after the rain, the best in a world that can feel as if it is filled with nothing but negativity because we have nothing left to lose. Yet at the same time, we have everything left to gain. Tell me, what good does it do us to live our lives dreading our current situations instead of striving to do and be better? Poisoning the world with pessimism instead of healing it with optimism. Through this second approach, we are able to accomplish anything. Focusing on self-care and supporting our immediate communities, as well as creating a more unified approach to national and even international issues. No longer letting arbitrary distinctions like race, class, gender, or political affiliation divide us. Waking up every day and choosing optimism requires overcoming the negativity that not only exists in the world, but within our own psyche. It means silencing the voice that constantly nags us, saying that we are not good enough, that we should not take risks, that we are doomed to fail, and instead living a life of self-love and devotion. Constantly working to better ourselves and using that influx of positive energy to better the people and world around us. This lifestyle, embracing optimism to facilitate internal healing, allows us to form connections with those around us, using our internal growth as a means to build one another up and heal, rather than being forced to go about everything alone. The best part is, healing with optimism is not limited to our effect on individuals. Rather, it can be applied more broadly on a national, even international level. In today's society, it seems as if everything exists in binaries. No longer are there questions of compromise. Rather, it has become right versus wrong, red versus blue, good versus evil, and more, ignoring that deep down we are all human beings, all working to create the best future for ourselves, their children, and their children until the end of time. Healing with optimism means letting go of our tendency to turn opportunity for discussion and dialogue into arguments and personal attacks, and instead learning to cross the aisle, compromise, and attempt to understand where others are coming from so we can move forward together. With optimism, we can heal these arbitrary divides that we have manufactured, recognizing that we all want the same thing, a world where those we love are protected, seen as equal, and able to access all the opportunities the world has to offer. Healing with optimism is a mindset that is accessible to us all, working on a personal, community, national, and international level to overcome our differences. Using optimism to heal not only ourselves, but the world. Thank you.
Hey, welcome back. Our next speaker is Speaker B. If you want to check your volume very quickly.
Yeah, are both my audio and visual working all right?
Everything's good. Speaker B.
Healing the world with optimism. The world is a beautiful place, but it doesn't always appear that way. And it's in those times where we must truly remember that for even the darkest of nights, there comes a brighter day. Good evening, honorable judges, esteemed viewers, and fellow participants. I want you to think back, way back, to the first few weeks of 2020. What had the world been like then? Cheerful family reunions celebrating the grand leap into the new decade. For many New Year's resolutions were drafted, written, and then ignored as usual. But it was a time and place where hope and optimism flourished, like a tiny little seed reaching for each sunny day that had been expected to come. Flash forward 365 days. An international epidemic forcing countries into lockdown, civil unrest at unprecedented levels, climate disasters raging on nearly every continent. This is our current world, and it's definitely taking its toll on even the brightest optimists across the globe. I remember back in the May of 2020 when the pandemic peaked in intensity. But to my past self, it just meant more restrictions and more being confined to the same four walls of home. Schools were closed, businesses shut down, travel barred. I moped around the house like just about any other kid in the country. Tired, disappointed, quite frankly, bored. Looking back now, I probably broke just about every record for the most pessimistic mindset then. But then, one summer day, I came across a journalist page on social media entitled The Good News Movement. Scrolling through their page, I saw thousands of stories of communities who had come together to raise funds for the pandemic. I watched hundreds of videos of little girls and boys proudly protesting against racial inequality. I saw images of children parading a bus driver down the neighborhood streets, thanking him for the sacrifices that he and all essential workers make every day. I was mind blown. Every day that I'd spent sulking at home, I had been surrounding myself in darkness. Every passing hour of me feeling utterly defeated at how little control I had of the world, were moments where I've been feeding parts of my livelihood to that negativity. Reading all those heartwarming stories was like the first true ray of sunshine after a long winter day. So you see, we have every right to be angry at the world sometimes, especially when everything just seems so far beyond our control. But what I've learned from caging myself into a black and white world is that pessimism only acts as that protective armor you need to engage in a hostile world. So while it fends off disappointment and potential pain, it also destroys what's left of faith and genuine happiness. And there's enough destruction in our communities already. What the world needs, at this moment especially, is healing. In the weeks following lockdown, everything had seemed to blur by. Online school, occasional trips to the grocery store, and the constant bickering that came with having my entire family around 24/7. But what kept me going then was knowing that while we can't always choose what comes our way, we can choose how we respond to them. I realized that being stuck at home with nothing to do could easily be rephrased as being safe at home, with the chance to connect with family. Because, in the words of Winston Churchill, while a pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity, an optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. We're all living in the same world, breathing the same atmosphere, caught up in the middle of the same global crisis. But instead of succumbing to darkness, find a reason to smile. Try to see a cup half full, no matter how convincing other perspectives can be. The present is complicated, but optimism brings us together. It gives us a common future, that light at the end of every tunnel to look and build towards. Optimism provides us with the spirit and resilience needed to unite our societies and strive for positivity, for hope, and for healing across the world. Nobody may ever be born an optimist, but that doesn't stop anyone from embracing it.
Greetings. I'd like to welcome all of our contestants to the World Oratorical Championships for Optimist International. Congratulations to all of you, and also to your parents, your family members who are joining you, your teachers, and also thank you to the Optimist Clubs who've been supporting you and sponsoring you along this journey. Not only have you demonstrated great talent in being here for this competition, but you've shown that you are innovators, that you are people who overcome challenges, because to get here, you had to do some things in kind of non-traditional ways. So congratulations for what you've done. We as optimists share your belief in taking what appears to be an obstacle and turning it into an opportunity. So well done. I'd like to share just a little bit of background with you on the organization that's here sponsoring this competition. We've been around for just over 100 years, and I was privileged to have the chance to serve as president of Optimist International during our centennial year in 2018-19. For the past 100 years, we've shared the mission of providing hope and positive vision so that we as optimists work to bring out the best in youth, our communities, and ourselves. We do that in a lot of different ways. We sponsor scholarship competitions like you're participating in here. We also have youth sports programs like our junior golf championships and sports programs in local communities. We have a junior optimist organization, which is really around youth leadership development and community service, and childhood health and wellness programs, many other things at a local level as well. So wanted to give you that background, but I'd also encourage you as the students who are here with the kind of talent that you have to consider looking at some of the other scholarship programs that might give you opportunities. Maybe think about getting involved in a Junior Optimist Club and developing your leadership skills and giving back in the community. And maybe check out some of our other competitions for sports and things like that, if you're a golfer, for example. And so I think this is a wonderful way to recognize you here today. All of you are winners, or you would not be involved in this competition. Thank you for all that you've done. Best wishes for your continued success, not only in this competition, but in your very bright futures. Thank you.
Welcome back. We are now ready for Speaker C. And Speaker C, if you want to double check and make sure we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Sorry, I thought my mic was off for a second.
No, we can hear you. So I am going to take my leave now, and here is Speaker C.
Healing the world with optimism. This past year has been difficult for people around the planet. But this is not the first time a global pandemic has upended life. The influenza pandemic in 1918 was even more severe than the COVID-19 pandemic. However, the aftermath of the influenza pandemic was the dawn of the Roaring 20s, a time frame synonymous with optimism. The world healed from the influenza pandemic into a period characterized completely by the optimism of the times. Quite the jarring change. Except that change was a necessary, even predictable one. For the world to heal, just like it will now, we must rely on optimism. First, we must focus on the very definition of optimism. I've always characterized optimism as a deep sense of happiness. My entire life, I've focused on seeing the bright side, attaching myself to the innate beauty of the world. Nature has blessed me with a cheery disposition, and I've never struggled to find happiness. This past year changed all that. But instead of crushing my optimism, it strengthened it. A few months into quarantine, my grandmother passed away. If optimism could be personified in a person, it was my grandma. She always took time to see the joy in life. Her slogan, "Onwards and upwards," forever ringing in my ears. Even when she was in so much pain she couldn't walk. Even when COVID isolated her, she would call me to talk about the squirrels outside her windows, or the plants growing in her garden. After her untimely death, I stopped laughing at squirrels or smelling the flowers. But one day I decided to take a walk, maybe look at nature with my blinders on. First, I had to cross the street next to my house, one of the busiest in the country. Due to the pandemic, there was not a car in sight. For the first time in 16 years, I actually looked around the road. In the middle, where a speeding driver had hit my grandmother's car, a slab of concrete held a signpost that was still bent. I'd never bothered to look at that ugly slab, too worried about avoiding the cars. In that silent moment, the vacuum of noise filled with a vision. Now that ugly concrete slab has flowers, painstakingly transplanted from my garden, and signs decorated in pastel shades. The gray has transformed into a fireworks display of color. My definition of optimism changed just as much as that concrete slab. Optimism is not just seeing the beauty in life. It's belief and persistence. Optimism is the belief that things can get better, the belief that there is always room to grow, and the persistence to claw and push and fight to reach that vision of a better world. The world needs optimism to heal because it is the only way to do so. We must believe that there is a light at the end of this tunnel, and we must persist every single day to get to that light. Optimists see what the world could be, see the amazing things that could be accomplished, and we never stop fighting to get there. When I saw the ugly gray slab, a scar of that fateful car crash, I believed the scar could be healed, and I spent weeks carrying dirt and plants and flowers across the abandoned road, persisting until I did so. It would have been far easier to label the concrete slab a permanent eyesore and walk away, or simply give up after a few days. Pessimism is a far easier path to follow than optimism, the path most follow versus the path few dare to. In an ironic twist, optimism is hard and difficult and the ultimate test of will. Optimists believe the world will emerge from this and be stronger, better, more right. Optimists fight to make the better world they believe in a reality. Just like in 1918, when a decade of war, economic turmoil, and an influenza pandemic transformed into the roaring 20s, even the darkest nights yield to light. The only path to heal the world is through optimism, through belief and persistence. Perhaps it is not so much healing the world with optimism, but that optimists will heal the world.
Hello, contestant D. Good, you're unmuted. If you want to stand where you're going to stand to speak, and then we'll do a quick mic test.
I'll be right here.
Okay, can everybody hear? You want to say something again? Just make sure.
Can everyone hear me?
You're good. Okay, what we will be doing in what about, oh, we're on. Okay. All right, kind of took me by surprise there. Hi, we are ready for contestant D. And contestant D, you want to do one more check on your volume here?
Sure thing. Can everyone hear me?
You are fine. So we're ready now for contestant D.
Okay. Optimism can heal the world. It's the one force that transcends borders, socioeconomic standards, and experiences. It builds a home in our hearts, but only if we let it. And that's the problem. Many of us don't let it. We let that home weather the many storms of life unprotected. We board up the windows, let the roof cave in and the paint fade. And what was once a home becomes a prison when we lose faith in optimism. We have the immense power to repair that home in our hearts and see the world as it is, a beautiful, abundant place. And so today, I will discuss how we can heal our world with optimism by first establishing what optimism is, then revealing how a life without it can be detrimental to our health, before finally shedding light on how optimism can change our lives. By many, optimism is a mindset that is quickly dismissed as idealistic and unrealistic. One critic is French philosopher and writer Voltaire. Well known for his writing, one of his most popular works is the scathing satire Candide, a social commentary on the ridiculousness of optimism. And reading the novella for a second time this year, Voltaire's message is loud and clear. Optimists are naive dreamers who see the world through rose-colored glasses. But I think that Voltaire overlooked one simple truth. Yes, optimists are dreamers who see the best in the world, but it isn't because they ignore the worst. It's because although we may be knocked down and trampled on, we have the faith and the strength to get back up and try again. At its core, that's what optimism is. Resilience. And whatever traumas we face in life, whether they damage our body, soul, or mind, resilience and optimism and faith can bring us back to the light. So what happens to those who don't look for the good, who don't see the world as a place worth living and themselves as a person worth saving? Well, scientifically, they have proven to be far worse off. According to Christopher Berglund from Psychology Today, when we take on a negative mindset, it creates stress, which leads to elevated cortisol levels. Cortisol is a hormone that Berglund says can interfere with learning and memory, lower immune function and bone density, increase weight gain, blood pressure, cholesterol, and heart disease. Additionally, he explains that this negative thinking has proven to lead to depression, mental illness, and lower life expectancy. So by thinking positively, we can quite literally heal ourselves from the traumas we have faced. There was a point in my life when my parents got divorced, when I felt that any promise of happily ever after was shattered into a million pieces. My home had been torn apart, and I felt I was on my own, alone with my thoughts and the constant spiral into hopelessness. Until one day I understood that pain is not forever. When we feed our mind negativity, it grows into a monster. When we feed it positively, it blooms like a flower. Optimism can change our lives. Optimism can heal the invisible wounds in our souls. Emily Smith from The Atlantic writes to us about a study conducted by Dennis Charney, the dean of the Mount Sinai School of Medicine, where he examined approximately 750 Vietnam War veterans who were held as prisoners of war for 6 to 8 years, who were tortured and kept in solitary confinement. Amazingly, after those harrowing experiences, none of them developed depression or post-traumatic stress disorder. What was different about them? According to Smith, after extensive interviews and tests, Charney found 10 characteristics that set these veterans apart. The top one was optimism. If these brave soldiers can survive the ravages of war and come out the other side fighting a different battle, the battle for happiness, and smile and believe that the world is a good place, then surely we can heal our wounds with optimism as well, and learn to wear our battle scars as badges of honor. Optimism is the one force that transcends borders, socioeconomic standards, and experiences. It builds a home in our hearts, and we have to let it. There may be a storm raging outside, but we must keep our heads up. We must not let that storm crumble our courage, destroy our dignity. Some may say that optimists are naive dreamers, that hope isn't real. But we have to realize that hope is how we heal. Thank you.
All right, well, the question is then, what's to do in Reno? Wearing a cheerful countenance at all times, we look forward to seeing you in 2022.
Welcome back. We are now ready for Speaker E. Speaker E, if you want to do a quick volume check.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
We can. All right, Speaker E.
Healing the World with Optimism. Dr. U Paul, an author in Psychology Today, explains. More than 5 decades of research have found that optimism is a potent health tonic. As most of us know, tonic is something that can refresh and heal. In this case, our tonic is optimism. For as long as I can remember, the world has needed constant healing because of the most recent COVID-19 pandemic, racism, and division over politics. The darkness surrounding us does not have to be permanent. We can resist pessimistic attitudes and actions by using optimism as a constant substitute for negativity. This past year, 2020, would be a great example of why we need to heal the world with optimism. For example, COVID-19 has negatively affected the world for a year now. People have been dying from the disease, and it's contributed to an increase in depression. Suicidal rates have soared drastically due to the financial, mental, and emotional crises caused by the pandemic. Another wound that needs to be healed is racism. Racism has negatively impacted the world and its many cultures for centuries. Numerous people, recently Black and Asians, have suffered and died from racism. Police brutality has been a symptom of racism and has caused many of these deaths, including George Floyd, Eric Garner, Breonna Taylor, and others that were not seen on the news. Some may assume there's no coming back from these illnesses. However, if we all put our optimistic band-aids on the world, we could overcome these human ailments. 2 realistic strategies to remedy the negativity is to operate on 2 different levels, local and global. Locally, individuals can simply ask, "How are you doing today?" or "Do you need help?" Attributes of humility, which can be defined as thinking of yourself less than others, can improve someone's day and even put a smile on his or her face. Another deed one could do on a local level is donate to charity. You could do this in any city. Additionally, an investment for your local society is community service, such as volunteering to mentor us youth or just volunteering in general. Actions you could do on a global scale are writing letters to our government leaders explaining your opinion on laws and actions we can make to a healthier world. One more deed one could do to heal the world is use the right to vote and elect optimistic people in positions of power and influence. Those realistic strategies can outweigh the negativity. Personally, I've accomplished many small deeds, such as helping other students with their homework and holding the door open for others, even if it means standing there 30 minutes longer than anticipated. However, the deed that puts most smiles on people's faces is helping my lula, which is a Filipino term for grandma, navigate the environment. She needs help because she's legally blind. Think back to the last time you saw someone vulnerable being helped. Did it give you a good feeling? Did it give you hope for the future? This is the feeling of optimism acting as a tonic, making you feel good. Now you might be thinking, why do we need optimism to heal the world? For me, the best answer is, why not have a positive attitude and be proactive when encountering something negative? As most of you know, teenagers are obsessed with their looks, so something as small as a pimple could be a very big deal. But does it really have to be? It all depends on how you deal with it. A pessimistic person would most likely keep touching their face and try to pop it, only causing it to get bigger and possibly leave a scar. While an optimistic person would be proactive by taking care of their face, making sure to clean it, and not treat it as if for a life or death situation, causing the pimple to go away without any scar. This is similar to how the world works. If you do negative acts to the world, the results will be negative. An example of this is littering and polluting. Littering and polluting will cause destruction to the environment and the atmosphere. Others may feel that optimism only exists to make people feel better. To some extent, this is true. However, when people feel good, they have positive attitudes, causing positive virtuous actions, like helping others in need. Optimism is a key ingredient to help individuals grow a healthier and proactive society. For healing to occur, it first has to start with each individual. Then it could spread to others. Being pessimistic does not solve any problems. It only creates more. But optimism provides the energy and solution to heal the world. Thank you for your time.
Pecan. Pecan.
Pecan.
Pecan. Drawer. Drawer.
Drawer.
Drawer. Pop. Coke.
Pop.
Soda. Gas. Petrol.
Gas.
Gasoline. Bagel. Bagel.
Bagel.
Bagel. New Orleans. New Orleans.
New Orleans.
New Orleans. Caribbean. Caribbean.
Caribbean.
Caribbean. I read it as gyro. Gyro.
Gyro.
Gyro. Is it like a gyroscope? I thought it was the food.
Yeah, like the gyro. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what that is. Oh.
Nat, stop cracking up.
What is that word?
It's Euro.
What?
What?
Euro.
Isn't Euro? Isn't Euro EU?
Hero.
Hello, and we are now ready for the last speaker of the day, Speaker F. And Speaker F, if you want to check your volume one last time.
Can you all hear me?
We can. All right,
Perfect.
everyone, Speaker F.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Speaker F, and I'm speaking on the topic, healing the world with optimism. When I think about the world's problems, it gets me so sad, knowing I am just one person out of over 7 billion people in this world. I mean, who am I to fix problems like COVID, racism, climate change, world hunger, or pollution? I know I am not going to be the next Martin Luther King Jr. or Gandhi. So how can I do my part to help heal the world? I found that trying to heal the entire world can feel like an impossible task, but you cannot create change on the global scale until you first can create change on a smaller scale. So healing the world with optimism starts with me. And just like the biggest apple tree can start from the tiniest seed, I am empowered. You are empowered. We all are empowered to heal the world through a single act that ends up bearing much fruit. When I think about how one person can inspire another man to change the world, I think about my dad. My dad is a very optimistic person. Whenever our family runs into any sort of problems or troubles, my dad is never discouraged. He always tells us things will work out for the best, even though we may not be able to see it at first. Like when he gets mad at me for not doing my chores, and he always tells me when I have kids one day, I'll understand too. But in all seriousness, if there's one thing my dad truly loves, it's fishing. My dad learned how to fish when he was very young from our family friend, Grandpa Bear. When he first started out, however, he wasn't too optimistic about learning because he felt like Grandpa Bear was just trying to show him what he did wrong. But Grandpa Bear was just trying to teach him the ropes and teach him very important lessons that applied to both life and fishing. Because of my Grandpa Bear, my dad fell in love with fishing. A couple months ago, I found out my dad was able to heal an entire man's life with just one fishing trip. It was about 20 years ago when my uncle was headed down the wrong path in life. He was involved in gangs, drugs, and other very, very bad things. One day, my dad asked, just out of the blue, "You want to go fishing?" They went out to the lake and my uncle caught his very first fish. From that moment on, he was hooked on fishing. He fell in love with the sport and asked my dad to go again and again. Because of the trips to the lake with my dad, my uncle stopped hanging out with his gang. He stopped abusing drugs and he got his life back on track. He was even able to get his first stable job to fund his newfound hobby, fishing. To my dad, This was nothing more than just an ordinary fishing trip. But to my uncle, fishing was the light that healed the darkness in his life. Now, 20 years later, and my uncle is still fishing to this day, but with a little twist. It was at a recent family gathering that my uncle actually approached my dad, pulled him aside and said, "Hey man, I don't know if you remember taking me fishing that one time, but that one trip completely changed my life. It changed my world." It turns out my uncle started taking inner city kids from the own neighborhood where he grew up at and started bringing them fishing, to the oceans, to the lakes, you name it. He shows them an importance for having a passion for something good and shows them a life outside of gangs. This story helped me realize the potential we have to heal other people's lives. Grandpa Bear healing my dad healing my uncle healing the youth. Every decision that you make, that I make, has the potential to inspire someone to do something good in this world. It gives me hope that I can change the world too by staying optimistic and treating everyone around me with positivity and to pay my good deeds forward. I know I will not be able to change the world overnight, but if I'm just able to inspire one person, if I'm able to heal their world, then maybe they'll do the same to another person until the cycle will repeat and continue until eventually our optimism has spread and healed the world. Thank you.
Thank you, contestant Speaker F. You may return to the break room. And I'd just like to say a few words before I turn it back to Diana. I'd like to just say a few words and say the judges were so hardworking. Teamwork makes the dream work. I'd like to give a quick shout out to Judge 1, Tom Oppenheimer. Tom, wave, Tom. Thank you so much. Judge number 2, Roger Caesar. Please wave. And judge number 3, Stacy Bernaw. And we also had our timer, Anne, our timer. Thank you very much, Anne. She may be working on timing as we speak. Now I'd like to turn it back to Diana so she can wrap up this magnificent day of great speakers and just a great championship.
Let me also thank everyone who made today possible. We aren't finished. As I said, we have the St. Lawrence region in the morning. And once again, if you go to optimist.org, you will find the link to that YouTube video. At 10:30, we are announcing the finalists. The students will not know until tomorrow. They all find out at the same time. And then at noon, we will have the final round. So we hope that you join us tomorrow morning. And I can promise you that it will be an outstanding final round again. So thank you to everyone, especially our judges. Thank you to all of the Optimist International staff who've just done yeoman's work to make this happen. To my brand new co-director, Sunny Fridge, who did a great job. I think we're a good team here. And of course, to Ron Graves and everyone on the committee, especially Anne, who is also on the Oratorical committee, for all the timekeeping today. It's a tough job. So thanks, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Promise yourself to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind.
Hablar de bienestar, felicidad y prosperidad à cada persona con quien te encuentres.
D'inculquer à mes amis la confiance en eux-mêmes.
Sɛ wobɛhwɛ ade nyinaa mu, biribi ɛhyerɛn no, na wama wo gyidie aba mu.
只去思考最好的一面，只去努力做到最好，并且只去期待最好的事情。
आप दूसरों की सफलता में उतना ही उत्साह महसूस कीजिए जितना आप अपनी सफलता में महसूस करते हैं।
D'oublier les erreurs passées et de voir à faire mieux à l'avenir.
去在任何时候都保持一个开心的面容，并且给予你每一个遇到的生物一个微笑。
To give so much time to the improvement of yourself that you have no time to criticize others.
म चिन्ताको लागि धेरै ठुलो हुनेछु, क्रोधको लागि धेरै मान हुनेछु, डरको लागि धेरै बलवान हुनेछु र धेरै खुसी भएर कुनै पनि समस्याको उपस्थितिको अनुमति दिनेछु।